Since you got promoted, you pay for everything now, my dad declared at dinner. New rule. You handle all family bills. I'd just become director, $240,000 salary. I said, of course. Then I relocated to Seattle without telling anyone. When they sent the first bill, and it came back, address unknown. Can you imagine being told your big career break meant you now had to pay for everything your family needed? My dad dropped that bombshell at dinner. But what he didn't know was that I'd already decided to agree, to smile, and then to vanish, leaving a forwarding address that simply said, unknown. My name's Donald, and I'm 32. I'm a meteorologist, which is kind of ironic considering how long I let a perfect storm brew in my own life. That Sunday dinner, the night my dad tried to turn my promotion into a family tax, was the moment I finally realized I'd been treating emotional blackmail as something I just had to endure. My mom called these dinners family tradition. I called them 3 courses of criticism with dessert. Roast chicken, overcooked broccoli, the hum of the dishwasher in the background. It was all so normal, so suffocatingly familiar. Then my dad cleared his throat. He never cleared his throat for nothing. Your promotion, he announced, his voice flat, like he was reading an official decree, means you pay for everything now. New rule. You cover all family expenses. My fork actually froze halfway to my mouth. I swear time stopped. My mom didn't even look up from carving. It's only fair, Donnie, she chimed in, a casual, almost dismissive tone. You're the one with the big, fancy job now. My younger sister, Beth, snorted from across the table. Yeah, Director Don, you're loaded. Don't act poor. There was this thick, heavy silence. I could almost hear the furnace kick on downstairs, mimicking the chill in my gut. My heart was banging against my ribs, a wild, confusing mix of pure anger and, if I'm honest, a strange sense of relief. Because they were finally saying out loud what they'd been hinting at, what they'd been demanding for years. I gently placed my fork back onto the plate, making sure my hand didn't tremble. My voice, surprisingly steady, said, absolutely. My dad's eyes narrowed, a flicker of suspicion. Good, he grunted, a satisfied little smirk playing on his lips. That's settled then. I even managed to smile, though I'm sure it looked wrong. Like a weather system that, at the very last second, decides to veer off course, leaving behind a bewildered silence and a strange sense of unease. Because what I didn't tell them was that on Monday morning, I was signing my relocation package. On Friday, I was moving to Seattle. And they weren't invited. To really understand how we got to that dinner table, you need to know how long I'd been paying for everything without the rule. I grew up in a small Midwestern town where the sky feels 3 sizes too big, and people treat weather like gossip. Storm's coming, neighbors would say over the fence. Yeah, my dad would reply. Donald will fix it. He meant it as a joke, the way he meant most of his digs. I was the kid with his nose in books, drawing clouds in the margins of my homework. I could tell you the difference between cumulonimbus and altostratus before I could parallel park. My parents loved to say they were middle class with old school values, which, translated, meant, we won't help you, but we'll still claim credit if you succeed. My dad, Mike, worked at an auto parts warehouse. My mom was a receptionist at a dentist's office. We weren't poor, but money was always the subject, always the unspoken tension in the room. I got my first job at 15, stocking shelves in a grocery store. I wasn't saving for a car or a new phone. I was saving for escape velocity. College isn't really for people like us, my dad declared. You're not one of those fancy kids. Trade school, something practical. Meteorology is just guessing and smiling on TV. He said that the day I got my acceptance letter with a partial scholarship for atmospheric sciences. I still remember how my hand shook, the way my mom frowned at the tuition numbers. Well, we can't help, she said immediately, cutting off any hope. You'll have to take out loans. Your father and I are not going into debt for clouds. So I took loans, all of them. I worked campus jobs no one else wanted, graveyard shift at the library, cleaning the labs, TNG intro classes at 7 a.m. I studied radar signatures at 1 a.m. while my roommates slept soundly. My parents never visited campus. Not once. But they called. Oh, they called. Your sister needs help with her books, my mom would say. Your dad's truck needs a new alternator, and your sister's tuition comes first. Can you spot us until payday? Grandma's medical bills are piling up. You're so good with money, Donnie. Just put it on your card, okay? I was 19, then 20, then 22. Saying yes felt like part of being a good son. Every time I hesitated, my mom would sigh dramatically. We didn't get degrees, she'd remind me. We sacrificed so you could. The least you can do is help the family. That phrase, help the family, hung over me, a thunderhead on my horizon. It rolled in ahead of every single request. By the time I finished my master's, I had over 6 figures in student loans, a battered Honda, and a credit card balance that didn't come from partying, but from paying for prescriptions with my name on the card and my parents' addresses on the envelopes. When I landed my first real job at a regional forecasting center, my salary hit $75,000. I cried in the bathroom after HR told me, partly from joy, partly from raw exhaustion. I told my parents on the phone that night. My dad whistled. Look at Mr. Money. Maybe now you can pay us back for all those years of taking care of you. Taking care of me? I repeated silently. He ignored that. You'll cover Mom's car payment this month, right? We're a little short. It never stopped. Every raise, every promotion, every small victory in my career was followed almost instantly by a new emergency back home. When Beth flunked out of her first college, they called me. She just needs one more chance, my mom pleaded. You know we don't have it. Come on, Donnie. Family. When my dad wanted a new TV because all my friends have one that big, the call came again. Just this once, he said. We'll pay you back. They never did. The balance went up. My patience went down. The irony was, I was literally forecasting storms for a living and somehow still pretending I couldn't see the one brewing in my own house. Work, however, was the one place in my life that made sense. I love weather. I love it in the nerdy, obsessive way people love chess or vintage cars. I see cold fronts as personality traits. Radar as a language. I can watch a storm cell and know where it'll drop rain like some people know where a drunk friend will end up at the end of the night. I started as a junior forecaster, then moved into severe weather monitoring. I was good. Not flashy, not TV personality good, but the kind of good that kept small towns from being crushed by unexpected hail. My boss noticed. You're calm when it counts, he said once after a brutal tornado watch night where my whole team looked like chewed gum. Storms don't scare you. He paused, looking at me. People do though, huh? I laughed a little too hard. You have no idea. Years went by. I climbed the ladder, more responsibility, more late nights, more adrenaline as we tracked supercells in real time. I joined a National Weather Agency office in the city. I started speaking at conferences, co-authoring papers. My parents didn't show up when I presented at a big conference 2 hours from their house. But my mom did text me that day. Can you send $400? Rent's tight. And your dad's overtime got cut. I wired the money while still wearing my conference badge. So when my boss called me into his office a few months ago, I expected another great work, keep it up talk. Instead, he slid an envelope across the desk. Director of Regional Forecast Operations, he said. Seattle office. You're our first pick if you want it. The number on the offer letter made my head spin. Base salary, $240,000. Relocation package. Signing bonus. You'll have a team, my boss continued. Bigger storms, bigger responsibility. It's you and the clouds, Donald. I thought about the rain in Seattle, the closeness of the ocean, the way the weather there is like a moody artist. I thought about starting over in a city where no one knew my family, my history, my worn-out credit card. I thought about all those help the family texts. I want it, I said. He grinned. Good. HR will get the paperwork started. You don't have to shout it from the rooftops yet, but we'd like you there by next month. Next month. I drove to my parents' house that weekend, my chest tight, my head buzzing. I told myself I was going to share good news. That maybe, just maybe for once, this would be about me. Instead, we got Sunday dinner and my dad's new rule. You got promoted? My mom asked, a casual question when I mentioned the director role before we sat down. My dad's eyes sharpened like he'd heard the word lottery. To director, I said. In Seattle. It's a big step up. Seattle. Beth blinked. Why would you move there? It rains all the time. You already do weather. Why punish yourself? Hey, my dad cut in, his voice suddenly alert. It's good, I said cautiously. $240,000. My mom squeaked. Base.
Yeah.
She actually sat down heavily, like someone had pulled her strings. My dad leaned back, hands behind his head, a king surveying new territory. Look at that, he said, a smug grin spreading across his face. My boy, the rich man. I'm not rich, I started. I've got loans and you've been living in that cheap apartment forever, Beth interrupted. You're fine. That's Dr. Money. That's more than Dr. Money, my dad corrected her, his eyes still on me. That's finally pay your parents back money. My stomach twisted. I've been helping for years, I said quietly. My mom waved that away like smoke. Oh, those little transfers? That's just family. We raised you. Now it's your turn to step up properly. Properly? My dad echoed, seizing the moment. Which brings me to something your mother and I talked about. He picked up his glass, like he was giving a toast. Your promotion means you pay for everything now. New rule. You cover all family expenses. I stared at him. What does all family expenses mean? House, utilities, groceries. My mom listed like she was reading her Amazon cart. Your sister's rent, her student loans, gas, insurance, the big things. You're the one who can afford it. Dad still works, I said, because I couldn't help it. You still work. My dad's jaw tightened. My back is shot. I've put in my years. Your mother is exhausted. Your sister is still figuring things out. You're the one with the golden paycheck now. Beth rolled her eyes. Yeah, I'm still figuring things out because you made me pick a major I hated, she muttered. But when she looked at me, there was expectation there, too. You'll help, right? You always do. You shouldn't be nickel and dimming us at this point, my mom added, her voice sharp. We're your family, Donald. You owe us. There it was. Owe us. They said it so casually, like it was objective reality. Like my life, my labor, my degree, my body in front of computers tracking storms at 3 a.m. was some kind of loan they'd taken out. I felt something in me finally stop, like a pressure system collapsing. My whole life, I'd been trying to negotiate with that storm. Umbrellas, sandbags. Maybe if I send a little more, they'll be okay. Maybe if I work a little harder, they'll stop asking. They never stopped. So, I put my fork down. Absolutely, I said. 3 pairs of eyes snapped to me. Absolutely, my dad repeated, suspicion still in his voice. Yeah, I said, and let my voice go calm, almost bored. If that's how you see it, sure. I'll cover all family expenses. My mom squinted. Don't say it if you don't mean it, Donald. This is serious. I mean it, I said. You want to make it a rule?
Fine.
New rule accepted. Beth grinned. Oh my God, finally. I can stop stressing about my car payment. My dad nodded, satisfied. That's my boy. Knew you'd do the right thing. We finished dinner with them talking about how lucky they were, what they might upgrade, how this would be so much easier. I smiled, answered their questions, even took a few notes when my mom started listing bills. Then I went back to my apartment, opened my laptop, and became my own meteorologist. No more pretending I didn't see the path of the storm. I mapped out every bill already in my name. I canceled every autopay that wasn't absolutely necessary for me. I called my bank and removed my parents as authorized users on my credit card. I set up USPS mail forwarding from my apartment to a brand new P.O. box in Seattle. On Monday, I signed the relocation package. On Friday, I loaded everything I owned into a moving pod, got on a plane with 2 suitcases, and flew to Seattle. I didn't tell my parents the exact move date. I didn't give them my new address. They had my number, my email, my ability to say no. For the first time in my life, that felt like enough. The first few weeks in Seattle were a blur of rain and freedom. The city felt like this enormous, wet secret. Gray skies, green trees, the smell of coffee everywhere. My new office had windows that looked out over the water. The first time a wall of clouds rolled in, the whole team stood up and watched like it was fireworks. "Welcome to the show," one of my new colleagues, Priya, said, bumping my shoulder. "You'll hate summer. It's too obvious." I found a small apartment not far from the office. Nothing fancy, but it was mine. No history in the walls, no ghosts in the furniture. The first paycheck hit my account, bigger than anything I'd ever seen with my name on it. I sat on the floor, my back against a box I hadn't unpacked yet, and stared at the numbers. For the first time since I was 18, no one else had a claim on it. My mom texted me the next day. "Mom, hey Donnie. Hope this seat town is fun, lol. Sending over the bills this week. Remember the new rule?" I stared at the smiley face. I typed, "Okay," then deleted it. Instead, I wrote, "I'll look at them when they arrive." She replied with a thumbs-up emoji, like I was a teenager taking out the trash. 3 days later, they mailed a fat envelope to my old address, like they always had when they wanted me to handle things. The envelope met an empty apartment, an official forwarding order, and a postal worker who dutifully stamped it. "Return to sender, address unknown. Unable to forward." It dropped back into their mailbox like a boomerang. I didn't see any of this, obviously, but my mom called that night, and I got the blow-by-blow. I was at my new place, half watching a radar loop and half assembling an IKEA bookshelf when my phone lit up. "Mom." I let it go to voicemail. She called again, then my dad. Then Beth. The group chat exploded. "Dad. Donnie, call your mother." "Mom." The mail came back. "Where did you move exactly?" "Beth, did you block the bills?" I made myself a grilled cheese, put my phone face down, and watched a time-lapse of storm clouds over Puget Sound. An hour later, I finally called back. My mom picked up on the first ring. "Where are you?" she demanded, skipping hello. "Seattle," I said. "We sent the bills and they came back." "Address unknown," she snapped. "What did you do to your mail?" "The post office said they couldn't forward." "I moved," I said. "Obviously," she snapped. "But they don't know where." "Why wouldn't you make sure we can send things to you?" "We have a system, Donald." "Yeah," I said quietly. "I know. I changed it." My dad's voice came on speaker. "What's this about the bills coming back, son? You trying to be funny?" "I'm not trying to be anything," I said. "I just don't want my name on things I don't see or control anymore. If you want help, you can ask. Specifically. Like adults." "Don't play word games," my dad growled. "Your promotion means you take care of everything. We counted on that. We already told people. I told the guys at work I could finally retire soon. You decided that without me," I said. "That's not my fault." My mom made this disbelieving sound, halfway between a scoff and a gasp. "So, you're going back on your word?" "I'm clarifying my boundaries," I replied. "Boundaries?" she repeated, like it was a slur. "What are you, a therapist?" "This is family, Donald. We're not strangers. You don't set boundaries with family." "I do," I said. "Now I do." "You're being disrespectful," my dad started. Beth cut in, her voice faintly echoing through the speaker. "Seriously, Don, my rent is due. My car payment is due. You knew this." "You're 30, I said. "You can get a job that covers your bills." "I have a job," she snapped. "It just doesn't pay enough." "I had jobs that didn't pay enough," I said. "I didn't ask my younger brother to fix it because I don't have one." "That's not the same," my mom interrupted. "We sacrificed for you. We didn't go on vacations. We didn't upgrade the house. All so you could get your fancy degree. You also kicked in maybe $200 for community college and told me to take out loans for the rest," I said, feeling my voice shake now. "You never paid a cent of my university tuition." "I know, because I signed every loan." "That's not the point," my dad said, cutting me off. "The point is, we're your parents. You owe us. There it was again.
Oh,
I took a deep breath, stared at the half-built bookshelf, and decided this was my storm warning, my siren. No, I said. I don't. Silence. What did you say? My mom whispered. I don't know you my entire life because I was born, I said, each word deliberate. I don't know you my mental health, my bank account, or my future because you decided to have kids. You watch your tone, my dad roared. No, I repeated. I've watched my tone for 30 years. I've watched it while you laughed about my job, while you spent the money I sent on TVs and dinners out instead of actual emergencies, while you gambled on me always saying yes. My mom actually gasped. We're not gamblers. You gambled on my obedience, I said. Bad forecast. I heard Beth swear under her breath. So that's it? My mother asked coldly. You get a big job. You move to some rainy city, and suddenly you're too good for your family? I'm not too good for you, I said. But I am done being used. I'll help if and when I choose to, in ways that make sense for me. Not as a rule. Not as a law you announced at dinner. You already said yes, my dad protested. You said absolutely. I changed my mind, I said simply. The more I thought about it, the more I realized you weren't asking for help. You were demanding control. That's not going to happen. You're going to feel so guilty when we lose the house, my mom spat. I went very still. What? You heard me, she continued, her voice rising. Without your help, how are we supposed to keep up? Your father can't work like he used to. I can't pick up more hours. Beth, I interrupted. Beth can get a roommate. You can downsize. Sell the second car. Stop pretending you're one bill away from the streets while you still have cable and Uber Eats. You're punishing us, she cried. No, I said softly. I'm stopping you from punishing me. My dad's voice came back, angrier than I'd ever heard it. You walk away from us now? Don't you come crawling back when things go bad? Don't you dare show up at our funerals with your fancy coat and fake tears. There was a time those words would have gutted me. Now, they just sounded like thunder 100 miles away. I hope things don't go bad, I said. Honestly, I hope you figure it out. But I'm not your contingency plan anymore. My mom's voice dropped to a hiss. You're dead to us if you do this. I closed my eyes. I've been dead to you, except for my bank account, for a long time, I said. You just didn't say it out loud. I hung up. They called back. I let it ring. The group chat blew up. Mom, I don't recognize you. Dad, you'll regret this. Beth, thanks for nothing. Enjoy your rain. I turned off my phone. Outside my window, Seattle did what Seattle does. It rained. And for the first time, I didn't feel like I was drowning in it. The aftermath wasn't dramatic or cinematic. There were no sheriffs at their door the next day. No instant karma, lightning bolt. Real life is slower than that, more atmospheric. First, they tried guilt. Long paragraphs from my mom about everything we did for you. Pictures of the house, of my childhood bedroom. Then they tried anger. Caps lock messages from my dad. Voicemails where he called me selfish, heartless, brainwashed. Beth posted vague tweets about trash brothers who forget where they came from. A cousin sent me a screenshot. Then the practical stuff started to crumble. I heard through my cousin that my parents sold the big truck my dad loved so much. They said gas was too expensive. My cousin texted. Your dad is pissed, but what else can they do? Beth moved back in with them after her roommate finally got tired of covering her half of the rent. She keeps complaining about having to pay real bills now, the cousin added, with a laughing emoji. It's wild. Meanwhile, my life got simple. I went to work. I learned my new team's quirks. Priya liked classical music when we were monitoring storms. Jonah, another forecaster, stress-ate gummy worms during tornado watches. I joined a local climbing gym because a coworker invited me. I started going for walks in the drizzle instead of hiding from it. I saw a therapist for the first time. Tell me about your family, she said in our first session. I laughed so hard I almost cried. How much time do you have? We talked about enmeshment, about parentification, about how being the responsible one in a dysfunctional family isn't a compliment, it's a trap. We talked about guilt. It feels like cutting off life support, I admitted once, like I'm watching them flail. She tilted her head. Life support they refused to buy for themselves. They had 30 years of earning potential before and during your life. They chose not to plan. They chose to drain you. You're not unplugging them. You're just not letting them siphon your oxygen anymore. I thought of all the nights I'd stayed up late transferring money, of the way my stomach knotted every time my phone buzzed with my mom's name. I thought of that envelope stamped, address unknown, bouncing back into their mailbox. Weather returns what you send out eventually. Hurricanes pull heat from the ocean and fling it back as destruction. You pump enough carbon into the sky, you get new records every year. My parents pumped entitlement and manipulation at me for decades. What came back wasn't revenge. It was absence. A couple of months after the big blow-up, Beth texted me for the first time. Beth, I got a second job at the coffee shop. It sucks, LOL. I stared at the message for a long time. Me, that's tough. I'm glad you're taking care of yourself, though. 3 dots appeared, stopped, appeared again. Beth, you really not going to help at all? I breathed in, breathed out. Me, not financially, not as a rule. But I'm here if you want to talk about jobs, budget, whatever. She didn't respond for a day. Then, Beth, do you really think I can do it? Me, I do. She hasn't turned into a saint overnight. She still posts passive-aggressive memes sometimes. But she also sends me pictures of her pay stubs, proud and tired. My parents, they've doubled down. My dad sent a Christmas card with no note, just a bill for your share of the holidays tucked inside. I mailed it back. No return address, just a yellow sticky note that said, "No." My mom tried to friend me on Facebook again recently. Her profile picture is her and Beth smiling stiffly in front of a smaller, older car. I didn't accept. I didn't block her either. Sometimes storms just move on. You don't have to chase them. I thought closure would look like apologies. My dad crying. My mom saying they were wrong. Beth hugging me as the past dissolved. Instead, it's quieter. I wake in Seattle to rain, and my first thought is my own day, not their needs. My money is for rent, therapy, small joys, not rescuing anyone. I'm still kind, still generous. But I've learned the difference between love and obligation. My promotion no longer funds the family. It funds my peace. This story shows how the real conflict wasn't money, it was control. When my dad announced that new rule at Sunday dinner, I stopped negotiating and removed access, canceled autopays, cut authorized users, and kept my Seattle address private. That address unknown envelope was a clean, unmistakable signal. It taught me that help must be voluntary and trackable. After that, my parents sold the truck, Beth took a second job, and I finally funded therapy and peace. What would you have done in my place? Have you ever had to draw such a hard line with family, even when it hurt? Tell me what you think in the comments below. I really want to know.